Hello there and welcome to the Wall of Weird, the Smallville podcast where we talk about Superman and Lois.
Well, it takes place in Smallville, so that works.
Yeah. Anything Smallville related. Guys, Tom Welling has announced that Smallville is coming back as an animated series. So the Wall of Weird podcast will actually be able to talk about new episodes of Smallville. How awesome is that? Anyway, I digress. We need to get into it because Durban's going to have to leave us in about 39 minutes. So we'll just
happy wife, happy life. So I gotta,
Yes, indeed. That is a T-shirt right there.
It is a T-shirt.
Okay.
T-shirt, yes.
So you know the rules. We spoil the crap out of it. Latest episode. So if you don't want it being spoiled, why the hell are you watching us right now? Come back later. Episode 11, which is ridiculously titled a brief
reminiscence
in between Cataclysmic
that would be the one.
Recording my review today took me several takes just to get to the title.
Yes. We'll spend no more on that. I'm just going to call it catalytic, okay?
I love it.
Catalytic. Okay, so here we go. We've got our usual slides. We've got 12 slides, a few clips. Here's the first one.
Boom.
Fortress training. Very Man of Steel vibes.
This Fortress training did the best combination of Man of Steel vibes and Christopher Reeve vibes. Because, it was the crystal. He got frustrated. He threw it in the snow. Like, all of that Superman the movie vibe. But then from that point forward, it was very Man of Steel. And what budget does this show have? Because as he's running through the snow...
Snyder. That is Zack Snyder's influence right there. Because when that's going off in slow motion, it's running through it. That's like the 300 tracking shot. And that was... It's like, Warner Brothers, you can screw Zack Snyder over all you want, but let's face it, you steal the crap out of his work. So, just embrace the man, for crying out loud. Okay. Anything else to add on that, guys?
I don't think so. We have a clip. Can you play the clip?
We have a clip. That's Clark meets Jor-El.
Yes.
I am Jor-El, and you are my son.
First time I really connected to him. I love the way he said that line.
Me too.
And
Amazing.
I do have to point something out here. So we got a comment on last week's video, okay? Because we weren't overly favourable to last week's episode. In fact, I think we all agreed it was the worst episode so far of the season because they tried to cram too much in. And one of the aspects that we criticised was the fact that when Lara goes into Lana's body, she was very kind of unemotional, really, about meeting her son.
Not talking about her grandchildren, like, oh, please grandchildren before I disappear, things like that.
We got a comment on that video, on those comments that we made, saying that, she's the consciousness that has been, she's essentially what's a remnant of the consciousness, a bit like Jor-El is, so she's not going to be emotional because it's not really her, it's just like an imprint of the consciousness. Well, right here, this scene completely overrides that, because Jor-El clearly shows an emotional state of being towards his son, hologram or no hologram. He says we see it anyway. So again, the criticisms for last week's episode still stand.
Yes. Now something that I like. Oh, go ahead.
Lisa said he loves that he specifically said, "You are my son," instead of "I am your father."
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yeah, they definitely tried to avoid that Star Wars thing.
Mm.
One of the things I love,
but it's not just about avoiding the Star Wars thing. It's more specifically that he makes the focus the fact that he's the son. The importance is leveled at the fact that he's the son rather than him being the father who's over him.
Right.
And so, yeah.
But what I liked about this scene, too, is like after we transition and Clark is a grown-up and he's about to leave the fortress.
Which happened really fast.
It did, but, you know, it's a TV show, so they got to. But what I really liked is when Jor-El said, go and reconnect. You want to be Earth's champion, but reconnect and figure out why in your heart you want to be Earth's champion. And I'm not criticizing Snyder because I love Man of Steel. Absolutely love it. Both Man of Steel and Superman Earth 1 Volume 1, the graphic novel, have Superman stepping into the light because of a cataclysmic event that no man could stop. But what I loved about this and this presentation of Superman was Jor-El saying, before you step into the light, reconnect with mankind. And then the way he stepped into the light without a cataclysmic event, it was epic.
Yeah,
I actually really started to like Jor-El in this episode.
Me too.
Yes, this was like you said before. This was the first time that I actually felt any kind of warmth from this dude. That made me kind of like him. But what was I going to say?
I bet it was great. I bet it was great, Brian.
It's gone back midnight here, so you're going to get a lot of this, I reckon. What were we on? I was just going to say that, as always, it's always going to be unfair to make a critique of a film that does something differently to a TV series when a TV series has abundantly more time to spend on things. So, but Superman and Lois here.
And that wasn't me being critical,
great.
though. Like, I actually like both versions, but I like the differences. Like, so it's it's kind of complementing both.
Yeah. When you get given the time, you can do this, and it's great. It's just so next up, we've got the Metropolis arrival when Clark. So we have flashbacks to when Clark first came to Metropolis, and we've got a little clip here as well.
Did you see that?
I love it. I love it's like they went out of their way to make us comic book nerds who love Superman love this show more than we already do. And so I love, is it Max Fleischer? Is that how you say his last name?
Yes.
I love the Max Fleischer costume. And what I loved, so it was cool in episode 1 where we saw this moment. He caught the green car, nod to Superman #1 comic cover. But I loved the reveal. That was his first ever public appearance. Yeah. That was incredible. It wasn't a big alien invasion or some monstrous thing. It was just saving the people in that car and saving that kid from being crushed. That is so Superman, and I love it. Contradicts Supergirl, though. And Supergirl, they said catching a plane was his first public event. So I'm happy about that contradiction.
Yeah,
well,
we've had crisis, haven't we? So the thing is, not just this scene, but what I love about this episode is we see a lot of stuff in this episode that we've seen before in previous episodes. Yeah. And I kind of, as we've been going along, I haven't realised just how much they've been peppering in stuff. But they bring it all back here in this episode, but give it much more context, kind of put it in a timeline kind of order and add more bits around it. And it just... It really works, and it makes me believe that the showrunners have had a plan. That that everything.
Same thing.
Yeah, that everything's been mapped out. That they're not just kind of flying by the seat of the pants. They're just not making it up as they go along. They've planted all these seeds, and then now in this episode, it's almost like they've paid them off by showing us them all again, but within a real much deeper context. So
how did you manage to get that job?
What, the Daily Planet?
Oh gosh. Just pick up my dry cleaning and you can.
Yeah, well, it's just
you got to think about it, right?
That's pure Perry White, though. That's pure Perry White.
But Clark showed pure eagerness for the job, right? Yeah. How many people in the newspaper industry in the 21st century show that kind of eagerness? But also, yeah, don't need the health insurance and don't need the benefits, and I'll pick up your dry cleaning. I would have hired him.
This is he's basically slave labor. Perry White did everything in that moment to put him off, and not once did Clark hesitate in his eagerness. He just stayed eager, willing to please. You know, the dry cleaning thing, didn't even raise an eyebrow from him. Just said, "Yep, I'll do it." So as far as Perry's concerned, this guy, I'm having this guy.
I don't need health insurance.
Yeah, I don't have to pay him jack.
That's right. He doesn't. Oh my God. Yeah.
So really great stuff. So we got a
little bit of context when he mentioned Seinfeld, so I was trying to figure out what year it was. I was trying to figure out how old he was supposed to be.
Oh. Yeah, he said
Speaking
Seinfeld
of what year it was,
yeah.
Do you know what the most heartbreaking scene in this episode was for me? So in that scene, he's in Smallville. He wants to reconnect with Lana, and he sees her engagement ring. But the camera pans up, and the first Harry Potter movie is playing. That was heart-wrenching. Before he met Lois, before he had teenagers, the first Harry Potter movie was playing on the big screen, and I went, no, I'm not that old. I am not that old.
Hey, I was 41 2 days ago, so I
Happy
feel really old
birthday!
now.
Happy birthday!
Well, yes, thank you.
I'm still in my 30s, so I got that on you.
Yeah,
Screw you!
I still
Screw
have
both
2 years.
y'all.
I have 2 years. All right.
Okay. So we go from there to this eager young reporter who's just got a job, proper like low-level stuff, and he meets Lois Lane for the first time. So we get early CLOIS. There's a few things that happen throughout this episode. So let's talk about the relationship of early CLOIS. There's a few scenes throughout this episode that delve into this.
Yeah.
What are some of your favourite moments? What's the bits that stand out? Well, in fact, before you go there, I have to say something that I absolutely loved about this episode. Possibly my favourite thing about what they do here in this episode, which I'm not sure I've ever seen before in an iteration of Superman, which is that Lois falls in love with Clark.
They did it in Smallville.
Superman.
Well, that's true. They did do it.
Did though?
Yes.
Because she fell in love with the Blur first.
No.
Yeah, she was before she slipped for Clark.
No. All right,
she was.
We're gonna have to have this discussion in Smallville. We will table this,
Moving on. Table it. We'll move on.
Superman and Lois, it is undisputed. She fell in love with Clark first.
In Smallville, it's not.
I don't even know how it's
cut.
disputed in Smallville.
I just think in Smallville it's not clear cut, but we're not going there. All I'm saying is, right here, they establish without any doubt there's no way to say it other than she falls in love with Clark, not Superman, and because of that, I love it. And somebody posted something today actually on the Smallville fans group, which was it was a picture of Henry Cavill's Clark from Man of Steel. And it said, so many women fall in love with Superman.
Yeah, I
and
saw that today.
Pass by Clark Kent every day, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just, and yeah, that's for me. It's kind of always been one of the problems with that aspect of the characters, that like, it's great that you can fall in love with Clark once you already know he's Superman, but actually, it's nice to see that no, Lois loves Clark. The fact that he turns out to be Superman is just a really big plus for her. So,
well, she was kind of turned off by Superman.
Well, yes,
she was, and that was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
You know, one of the things I liked about it is it's like there's some good specific moments, but I like what they did is they had this montage that just showed Clark and Lois working close together, because we've seen Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. We've seen Superman the movie and all that stuff. So I thought this was incredibly cool how they pulled it off in a little montage. Mostly music, few sound effects under, very little dialogue. But what you just really get out of it is you just see them growing closer and closer and laughing and smiling. And it's like, you can really see it blossoming and you didn't need much else.
Everything
Chemistry.
except for their first kiss.
Yeah, we didn't get that. We didn't get that. Right.
Chemistry. Just great chemistry. And again, it's just, it feels very mutual. The two of them are working together and they're both falling for each other at the same time. It's not one chasing the other or anything like that. It's just, I think it's just handled so
He certainly
perfectly.
doesn't take the moves, though. He...
Okay.
Obvious hint, Clark.
Well, like Clark, I always missed the obvious hints, but I didn't get many until I met my wife. So.
Okay. So next up, this is another great moment actually. So we have.
I love this.
It's Superman saves Lois, but slash Lois kicks some serious ass, and I think we've got a clip here. So.
I love that slow-mo shot of Superman wreathed in flame. I love that shot.
Yeah. I love even more the fact that once Superman gets KO'd into the wall, Lois takes that distraction time to just go on his neck.
And then Superman comes out of the store, and everybody's applauding, and he's like, "Well, that they're applauding at her." That was a really great moment.
Yeah, really good stuff.
But then we get this really cool little thing in this scene, right? Where we have this weird like silhouette thing that looks like Morgan Edge's silhouette.
Yeah.
And before we really get into it, my initial reaction when I saw that was
Reverse Flash.
What, Reverse Flash? But also I just thought, okay, is this their way of showing us Morgan Edge kind of zoomed in and zoomed out? And he was present even in these moments, like spying on Superman's life?
Yeah.
I now know the answer to that question, but I just remember that was my initial reaction watching that. But that was a cool little moment because it really sucked me in more. Like there's something more to these flashbacks than just all of this nostalgia.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so next up we've got bringing Lois home. So Clark takes Lois home to meet Martha. And yeah, she's quite nervous about meeting Clark's mum. She has no reason to be because Clark's mum loves her, and
Clark's mum is the best.
It's just, I like the fact that Clark has only decided to take her to see his mum because he's already made the decision in his mind that he's going to tell her his secret.
Because of that great scene where
show it.
Lois is interviewing Superman and he's got his super hearing. You got that scene? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not it. But that was
I
funny.
love that scene because when she sits down, she goes, "I'm sure you heard that." And he goes, "Yeah, he's a lucky guy," and I just love that because it's hysterical. It's that type of humor that Superman would have, that Christopher Reeve type Superman humor. But it's like that. I love it because it's that thing that leads to that decision. That he's going to
I thought
Lois the
also
secret.
we got to see a lot more of the real Clark Kent persona in this episode. And I think the reason why we don't see it as much in the other episodes is because a lot of times he's with his family, so he doesn't have to put it on. Although I wish they exaggerated a little bit more, like when he's around Lana and Morgan Edge. And
Now, one of the things that was cool about this too is, I might be jumping ahead a little bit, so forgive me, but it's that moment where, they're married, they're on their honeymoon, and he says, "I'm glad nobody knows my secret but you." Because it's like his secret now isn't this heavy burden that it was in Smallville, and I'm not knocking that either. I just kind of like this interpretation where he's like, this secret was something special, saved for you and me, so that we could share this life together. And so when Edge threatens him with revealing his secret to the world at the end, it gives it that much more weight because you see, it's not just keeping his secret identity, you really get the preciousness of that secret.
It's almost like a metaphor for his virginity. It's like something he's kept until marriage. So
something special that he gave his bride. And so it was
meant for her and her alone. But the scene that Nicole was talking about is this one.
Oh, are you sure? Once you tell her, there's no going back.
Yeah, well, there was no going back after the first time I saw her.
I'm so happy for you, honey.
I love that moment. It's such a great moment.
So that moment is literally the first time in this show that I got feels. So I had to include that. It was real. No, I mean like loving feels towards Clark and Lois.
Right. Yes, because you said last time. That one of your
I hadn't got any yet. Remember, I said that I hadn't, and that's the first time.
Yeah, because you're a proper shipper, and you need to have a shipping kind of shipper moment when you're shipping.
That was the first time.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. Okay, that was your first time. All right.
But it was a really great moment, and I agree with James's comment there. This Martha is awesome, though Annette O'Toole will always be the best. Like Smallville to me has a lot of the definitive versions of these characters, but I do love this Martha Kent, and I agree with you, Nicole. Like that moment was such a great moment between Clark and Martha.
Yeah. I will say though, we only got a little bit of Martha compared to Smallville, so it's hard to really not really a fair comparison.
No, it's not. It's not.
But I do think that they're both great, and
I do think Annette O'Toole is the best Martha. No, I'll just say that.
She's also one of the best Lanas too. Yeah. One of the worst Superman movies, but one of the best Lanas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to say Amy Adams is one of the best Lois Lanes, but also one of the worst villains of the week. One of the worst meteor freaks of the week. Yeah. Okay. So. All right. Next up, we've got. Where am I? We've got Making a Family. Yes. So this is obviously when they find out that they have twins. Tyler Hoechlin there, looking like he's got moobs, but whatever. We'll move past that.
It's true. Did you get like butterfly effect vibes in this? I don't know if it's butterfly effect. Maybe it's more spotless mind effects. But like where you're seeing like he kept jumping ahead in his memory.
I didn't know if something was happening to him, like where he was losing time. I was so confused there for a while.
I was like, what a weird origin story where he's like losing time. Are we seeing? But then I began to go.
I was wondering if it had to do with Crisis or what happened.
That was my first thought too, Nicole. I went, okay, is this Crisis? Is this when Crisis on Infinite Earths interfered with the timeline, and so we're seeing this moment of interference? But then, like, when he kept seeing, like, that Morgan Edge silhouette shadow... I
didn't know it was Morgan Edge. I
kept figuring it was. Because...
I didn't know what it was. It was like, is that him looking at him? I was like...
Yeah.
I actually think that this... I actually think the showrunners on this, as far as they're concerned, I think they're done with the Arrowverse.
I hope so. So this is great.
I don't think that, as far as I'm concerned, the Flash and Supergirl are their own thing. They still exist in their own universe. And I think with regards to this one, at the moment, this is all there is. Because I just feel like it has such a different tone, such a different flavour to those shows. I just think they're going their own way. They're doing the whole multiverse kind of thing again, I think.
I mean, the DCEU is about to legitimize everything as part of the DC multiverse. Yeah. And I know, like, Crisis kind of consolidated a lot of the Arrowverse characters into the same timeline. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if we're going to have this multiverse, keep Superman and Lois separate from everything else. Let there be a Tyler Hoechlin Superman over there somewhere. That's fine. I'm not going to watch that. This is epic, and this is
it's supposed to be the same universe, but they certainly haven't connected it at all.
I think
not even a little bit.
Like, I think there were supposed to be these connections.
Yeah, but they could have had something on the TV. I mean, they could have said a throwaway line. They just have chosen not to, which is
But I
a little
agree
confusing.
with Brian, because I'm thinking the showrunners are really seeing the success of this show kind of in its own contained thing and not, being muddled with everything else. So I think they might be seeing the advantage of that. At least I hope they are, because
every week when a new episode comes out, and oh, by the way, this episode has the highest rating so far on IMDb.
It should. It should.
It's the first episode to get over a 9. Every week when we've had a new episode, the day after, a whole slew of videos hit YouTube. And they all talk about how successful the ratings are for this show.
Yep.
And how they equate it to the fact that the program isn't woke. There's no woke stuff. So no woke, no broke. And I just that's literally every Wednesday morning I see videos that are just that. And I'm like, okay, we get it. You can stop banging on about that now, but I do think that the showrunners will take.
Well, maybe people are making a point. There's a hint. Do not do that.
I think it's not a preachy show. This is a Superman story, so that's what we're going to tell you. Is a Superman story.
Please don't go down the CW
please don't.
So I forgot to mention something before, but you guys, the fact that they had Superman on live television, like close up.
Yeah, so it's like I'm trying to just drop this because I think the show just wants me to accept this, and that's hard. Like you guys said, it seems in Clark's early years there was a little bit of a difference between Clark and Superman. To me, it's still not enough. I don't have any other comment.
You feel better if there was a voice difference. He should be doing a voice difference.
He really should. If I had to pick a really big weakness with this show, it is things like that. It is things like Lois seeing Superman in the fire going, Clark? Like, she should have said that. Like, that would have been hilarious, but no.
Anyway, next up, we've got Jor-El destroyed. Oh, no.
This had serious Man of Steel vibes, like right down to the lines, because you had that point where Jor-El was arguing with Zod and Man of Steel, don't commit genocide just to bring a whole race of people back. And Zod is like, I'm going to commit genocide, and I'm not going to argue its merits with a ghost. Yeah. And then you have Morgan Edge saying the same thing. But, like, it was a bit more dramatic, though, to have Clark standing right there in the cave. Yeah. And then to have Morgan take the crystal and crumble the darn thing in his hand, and then to have Jor-El say, I love you, before he disappears. Like you said earlier, Nicole, I wasn't attached and I was kind of angry at this Jor-El. But in that moment, I was won over and crushed that we lost this Jor-El.
Yeah, well, that was a big moment. He destroyed Jor-El.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. It just, he lost. I mean, because he was going there for information a lot, and now, whoa, gone. Yeah. Now, it's interesting, his mother's crystal is still missing, so it's possible that he'll put that in, but maybe Jor-El's not going to be there. This was a big change.
And if he does find his mother's crystal, that would be a very big nod to the theatrical cut of Superman 2, because there was no Jor-El in Superman 2. It was all Lara. So this would actually be, like, if they do that, I actually think that would be something very, very cool and a really good nod to Superman 2 with great backstory behind that. Like, I would love it if they did something like that.
I think it'd be good to have more of interaction with, because we've always had Jor-El. Jor-El's always, we had Jor-El for 10 seasons of Smallville. We never really get much with Clark, with his mother, with his birth mother. She is there in Smallville, but not in the way that Jor-El is always put on this kind of pedestal thing. So it'd be nice. It'd be nice if they bring the mother in and get some of that. Yeah, well, yeah. Again, out of brain fart, completely lost. Yeah, I think Zack Snyder should be getting an executive producer credit on.
I think so
series,
too. I mean, seriously, you said it best, Brian. For all the flack that WB has been giving Zack Snyder, it seems they really liked a lot of his ideas.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're trying to flaunt it in his face and say, look, we're doing it better, or if they're just like, no, we really like his ideas. And they've just incorporated it in here.
Yeah.
And they do a good job with it, though.
It's really heavy. Morgan Edge is, at this point, he is basically Michael Shannon's Zod. So, right. Okay. Next up, and this is actually... this is the scene that hit me in the feels the most in this episode. I'm a sucker for having those moments where somebody essentially apologizes, where they admit they're wrong. It's a very hard thing to do, to admit you're wrong.
Yeah, he's gonna die.
He's gonna die.
What else are you gonna do with him? He went through his whole arc.
Yeah, he's got. Yeah, his arc is complete. So
he's agree with you on that, because I really do like Kyle, and I agree with you, bro. Like, I didn't get the feels, but I loved it. Like, it was such a great moment where he just, because it's part of his character. Like, he was able to admit that he's wrong, and even though, like, he fought for Morgan Edge for good reasons when the show started. So, like, now when he's faced with the truth, it's amazing to see how he accepted the truth.
Yeah, he redeemed himself. He's screwed.
He's definitely screwed.
There is a slight possibility they come up with a new storyline for him. But
it's true. I mean, look at Parks and Rec. They were going to get rid of Chris Pratt. That storyline was complete. They loved him so much, and then he became the star of the show. Maybe we could have something like that.
I give him a 5% chance of survival out of season 1.
I'll go 7% chance.
Oh man.
He ain't getting his own spin-off series, that's for sure. Okay, but no, that was a really touching moment for me. I do love seeing people who just admit when they're wrong and basically ask for forgiveness and redeem themselves. I love a good redemption story.
James brings up an interesting point. He said, or what if the Kryptonian is still in there? Because didn't they say that it would take a little bit of time for the human personality to completely kick it out? I am going to be curious to see if that comes into play.
Yeah. What if Kyle becomes Zod?
Whoa.
He could. Something major has to happen. Either he's dead or...
He becomes Zod, right. And his neck has to be snapped. With all the other Snyder stuff in there.
Then he'll die anyway, so...
Okay, so next up, we've got Sarah and Jordan. Ship sails.
The ship sails. Yay!
Yeah, we go. So, do you still not care? Yeah, she still doesn't care. This is actually, I would say, for the most part, I mean, there's a bit towards the end, but this is probably one of the weakest episodes for Jordan and Jonathan.
They didn't have a lot in this.
But you know what?
The focus is
that.
Oh yeah, I am. I'm okay with that. Not because I don't like them, but because the show is called Superman and Lois. So it is nice that we've had an episode that has zoned in on their relationship and who they are.
I mean, Jordan had a pretty rock star moment, and I'm not talking about him locking lips with Sarah.
I know that,
in a second.
Yeah.
But even though he got knocked down pretty fast, he had a rock star moment in this episode.
Yeah, it's the kind of rock star moment where you jump off the stage and the crowd all moves out the way and you go splat.
But he had the guts to jump off the stage, and very few people have those guts. Uncle Morgan!
Uncle Morgan arrives and basically says that, hey, I've got your dad. He's pretty much KO'd. And now I'm just going to kill you guys. So enjoy. And as you say, Jordan steps up to the plate, fires his heat vision at him. But like that rock star moment where the singer jumps off the stage, they don't catch him, the crowd moves. It's more like Jack Black in School of Rock.
Yes,
he just kind of jumps, splats on the floor.
What a great comparison. We're comparing Jordan Kent at the superhero moment to Jack Black falling flat on his face.
It was a good effort, Jordan, but
Good effort. Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Here's the most heartbreaking thing about this, right? I feel like it gives us some revelation. So why would Superman submit on that other Earth? Probably because of his mother. So something about his mother is probably why he submitted and got possessed by another Kryptonian on the other Earth. That doesn't work in this episode because he's got a family. And so when Superman shows up and stands between his family and the fire, but he's weak, and he chooses to submit to save his family. I mean, there's this part of me, I had so many emotions. Number one, I was incredibly ticked off because Clark is a freaking huge weapon. To submit to Morgan Edge under any circumstance is awful because it's not just doomed to his family, it's doomed to his family and the world. On the other hand, I could understand Clark's desperation because he loves his wife, he loves his kids. He's not going to sit there and watch them be toast. So it's like, this moment sucked. And by that, I mean, it was fantastically done, but it sucked.
Yeah. It's very easy to have high ideals until you have a family and that family is about to be wiped out.
Yes, so you submit your... Can I start my rant?
Start your rant. Do it. Rant. I want to hear it.
All right. I understand that he wants to save his family. But submitting to him is going to save his family? What an idiot. All right? What guarantees that he's still not going to just go kill them after you submit? A. B. He's going to use you to probably kill them, you idiot. And C. You have superpowers. You pick up your family, you fly somewhere, and you put them in the kryptonite room.
He's not, but he's too weak to outrun Edge at this present moment in time.
You don't have kryptonite anywhere?
Yeah, but this is the thing. He's counting. No, Nicole, you've had a rant. That's fine. That's fair enough. But
it was a great rant, though. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
If you have a rant, you have to accept a counter argument. And the fact is, he's in no condition to fight Morgan Edge. He's in no condition to outrun Morgan Edge. This is the moment right here. Your family dies now, or you come with me. So at best, what Clark can hope for is that while he goes with Morgan Edge, it buys his family time to put a plan into motion, which we already know they're doing because Lois, Lois phones John, John Henry Irons. So we can assume, or at least I would assume from this, that Lois and Clark and John Henry Irons, knowing that him being turned evil is a very real possibility because it's already happened before, would put a plan into motion. Okay? So him going off with Morgan buys his family time, the time they need to put whatever plan into motion it is they've concocted. And that's why we get Lois calling John Henry Irons. They've got something up their sleeve.
Huge assumption that Morgan's just not going to kill his family anyway.
Yeah, no, but the point is, Morgan can't kill his family until he's taken Clark away and done whatever he's going to do with him.
So 10 minutes later.
No, you don't know. You don't know that, though. You don't know that. It's like, the thing is, Clark, Superman can play up his weakness as much as he wants. So if Morgan says, right, we've got to go to wherever the hell it is we're going, Superman's like, right, okay, but I'm a bit slow, so you have to bear that in mind. So he can eke it out for as long as he wants.
And Morgan took him and flew him. So much for slowing things down.
He could push against it. Look, the fact is, his family's dead now, right? They either die now, okay, in which case Morgan still takes Superman to the
desert
place,
fortress.
Still takes him to the fortress because he can overpower him like that. Superman's in no condition to fight him, so he either lets him kill his family.
He was an idiot to begin with by going to the fortress, but I know, because remember we said that last episode.
Yes. He lets him either take his family, kill his family now and take him anyway, because he can't stop him, or he buys his family whatever time he can by going with them of his own accord,
and put the entire world in danger.
But the whole world, both scenarios, your argument, just see some of the crazy ass flipping things you've come up with in the past to defend total BS decisions that writers have made on Smallville and places like that. You will literally dig deep to come up with the most monstrously, mind-bogglingly ridiculous plot points that only a superfan could come up with. I'm telling you right now, I'm giving you an explanation. Look, either way, either one of these situations, right? You're saying, oh, well, he goes with him and the whole world dies. Either way, the whole world dies, right? His family dies now, and then Morgan takes him, and hey, the whole world died. Or he saves his family now.
I've got a theory that I have developed during this entire argument. So, something everybody loves to do with Superman, and then I've only got like 4 minutes, and then I've got to take off because my wife gave me the, signal. Happy
Come
wife,
on, we're
happy
right
life.
near the end. We're right near the end. Let's wrap this up.
Here is my final theory. My final theory is this. Since everybody likes to take Superman and make him a messianic figure, here is my theory of what the plan in motion now is. He knows that she is going to call John Henry Irons. So his plan, sacrifice himself. He will take on the evil Kryptonian nature to spare his family's life, and he will lay himself out as the lamb to the slaughter to be defeated by John Henry Irons, who has the experience, who knows what's coming, and now has the advantage. I think that Superman has basically laid his life on the altar to save the world.
See, but it didn't feel like that.
It doesn't yet.
How can you not say it feels like that when she's phoning John Henry Irons? What other reason does she have to phone John Henry Irons other than, hey, we've got a plan, it's time to put it into motion?
It felt like he gave up. It did not feel like it didn't feel like he gave himself over to like death, like as a sacrifice.
I think he did. Because go back and look at his facial
expressions. That's how it felt to me.
Look at his attitude. Look at all of that. When I had to watch this scene twice before I recorded my review today. When he looks at Lois and he says he was right, he's referring to John Henry Irons. He's telling her exactly what to do. When
They've planned for this. They've planned for this.
When he arrived to submit, there was a plan in place. It may not have been a plan that he wanted to go to, kind of like Jesus in the garden. Jesus was saying, if possible, take this cup away from me. Mm-hmm. This was his cup moment. He goes, okay, it's come down to this.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's my theory.
Before Durban goes, we've only got one thing to talk about, which is Evil Superman, which we've kind of already talked about. I feel like we've just talked about it.
Yes.
Nicole, you have your opinions, and there are the correct opinions, which we've talked about as well. So yeah, I feel like this has been planned for. How could they not plan for it, given that they know it happened on John Henry Irons' world? It's something they've had to take into account. We know that why else would they call John Henry Irons right now? They're putting a plan into motion. It's the only possible explanation for why he would go.
And James reminded us, Clark also mentioned they didn't have enough time. So it really has come down. This is it.
So it's to the wire. So with that in mind, wrap-ups and scores. Durban, go.
I'm giving this episode a 5.
Are we going to talk about the fact that do you guys agree that it was a Kryptonian that possessed him there?
Yes, I agree it was. And that's what I said about him taking on the evil Kryptonian nature. That's what his sacrifice.
Kind of looked like when
he knew he was submitting to it. He knew he was submitting to take on a dark, evil Kryptonian phantom, and he was going to lose himself. He's given his life, and he's laying it on the altar, having faith in his family and in John Henry Irons and in his experience to win this. And so even though this episode, it does have a few little plot holes here and there. The biggest one is, how did Morgan Edge know where the darn fortress was?
He somehow
Well,
he
whatever.
must have followed
Well, he
him.
followed
but-
him. He said
yes,
that.
but
in
the end of the last episode showed him at his desert fortress, so it's like, when did you follow him? But who cares? The point is, minor thing, we can explain that away. I don't need to get into it. 5 stars, and I'm looking forward to what that's building to.
Yeah. Nicole.
This is just based on feelings.
Feelings. Go ahead. Do it.
Feelings
Okay, it's
betray
not-
us.
I love
Feelings
passionate
are lies.
Nicole. This is
It's
so fun.
not based on the quality of the show or anything else. Sometimes this happens to me with episodes. And I was enjoying this episode until the last couple scenes. I absolutely hate storylines where you have the evil, or your hero turning evil. And if they make him kill someone, I'll be really pissed. So
They won't make him kill someone. They won't make him.
I left this episode saying that sucked because of what happened at the end. So it totally took down my rating to a 3.5.
Whoa.
No! Well, you're wrong.
Whoa.
So, anyway, this gets a 5 from me. I can understand why it has the highest rating on IMDb. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I think the first 2/3, the way they built the relationship between Clark and Lois and showed us everything that we missed by not having a Smallville era, or like a pre-Superman era kind of thing. I just think they really summed it up so beautifully. They put new elements in there that I felt like I hadn't seen before. I loved it, and I think the conclusion got into real high stakes, and in a way that I feel was justified, and in a way that I can see kind of where it's going. But
By the way,
where I hope it's
I
going.
will say that in a previous episode, I said that I would hate it if he became evil.
Well,
Yeah.
Tom Welling became evil.
Yeah, Tom
number
Welling
of
became
times.
Bizarro. So it's
I didn't like it at first. It took me a while to
I did.
and it wasn't until after I saw, that he didn't cross that line. And maybe I'll feel better about this episode in hindsight. I am already feeling better about it after talking to you guys about it.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad we can help.
How many times did Tom Clark go evil? Laughing my
Never.
ass off. Anyway, so there you go. That
All
is
right.
tonight's stream. We end with 1 person being wrong and 2 people being right. And we will join you next week with episode 12
Oh, Brian.
of Superman and Lois, which hopefully will live up to what's been laid down in this particular episode. But
I'd rather go down fighting.
thanks for
I'm with
watching.
you, Nicole, about Smallville, Lana Lang. I'd rather go down fighting. So I get where you're coming from.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for those who joined us live in the chat. Sorry we didn't put up many of your comments tonight. We were trying to get through this relatively quickly just because Durbin had to get off and I want to go back.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, thank you for joining us in the chat. Thank you if you're watching this after the fact. And until next time, I still don't have a line.
Well.